Hi guys, my name is Allie and I am a recovering heroin addict. If you've never seen one of my videos before, I make content about things that have happened during my addiction and stuff like that, and stuff I went through during those hard times. Today's video is gonna be about how addiction changed me as a person over time. So we'll just start from when I was a little girl. I always took pride in behaving and following all the rules when I was younger. I actually enjoyed doing that. I would go out of my way to show my parents that that I was helpful and I was attentive and I cared about how they felt, and I cared about listening to them, and I cared about making them proud. I loved taking care of my little brother. That was like one of my favorite things. When I grew up, I was kind of the same way in elementary school and going into middle school. I still behaved. I got good grades. I behaved in school. I always had a close-knit group of friends. I wasn't like super outgoing. I was kind of shy, but I always had a close-knit group of friends, like 2 or 3 close friends. When I start hitting like 7th and 8th grade, that's when I started smoking weed and drinking. And that's when my mindset kind of started changing. I think as most teenagers get, they kind of get antsy and they think that they know everything. I kind of went through that too. I would start deviating away from my mom's rules and what my parents wanted for me. I started thinking for myself, and it was kind of like a shock to them, that my parents, it was a shock to them how I was behaving, and I liked being out with my friends all the time. I didn't really want to come home when my mom told me to come home. It started out with that. It went from smoking weed with my friends on the weekend and drinking on the weekend in 7th and 8th grade to smoking every day. By the end of 8th grade, I was smoking every day. I kept asking my parents for money. They didn't really know that I was smoking at that age. It took them till I was like 14 and 15 to know that I was an everyday weed smoker. And at that age, I started sneaking out more, hanging out with boys, and all that. When I was like 15 to 16, I started getting into harder drugs, like popping pills, snorting coke, drinking heavier. I was putting myself in like really risky situations. When I was younger, I would never even think about smoking weed, let alone snorting coke or drinking a lot like I watched a lot of my family members do. They would, a lot of them drank themselves to death. But my morals changed as the drugs got harder too. A lot of things that I said that I would never do, I began doing. It started being okay in my head, like stealing and lying and manipulating people, manipulating my boyfriends to get what I wanted, lying to them about where I was going and what I was doing. And then when I started doing heroin, for the first time when I was 16, I tried it. And then from there, my whole life really changed. As my addiction grew deeper and stronger, I was experimenting with more risky behavior to get what I needed and wanted, which for the most part was money. My mom kicked me out of the house for the first time, I think, when I was like 17. She didn't want drugs in her house. She didn't like that I wasn't following her rules. I was sneaking out at night, staying out all night, and she had tried everything. She had tried taking my phone. She had tried keeping me in the house, grounding me. She tried a lot of things, and they all, they all didn't work pretty much. So she said if I couldn't follow her rules and not do drugs in her house, and not do drugs at all actually, but especially not bring them in her house, that I couldn't live there. And that is when I moved out into one of my boyfriend's house at the time. And this is stuff I would have never thought I would do. I was stealing his parents' prescription drugs that they needed, like Xanax and Hydros. They were taking care of me at the time, and they would let me, his parents would let me take their car to school and stuff like that, and I would end up not going to school with his parents' car and not coming back in time for his parents to go to work because I was out getting high. I would ask them for money every day, which is totally ridiculous, as I was already living with them and they were feeding me, and my boyfriend was spending his whole paycheck on buying me clothes, and I was just kind of like a monster. A monster. I certainly wouldn't have let a girl like that stay in my house, especially if she was stealing from me and cheating on my son and doing a bunch of reckless things for money. And then from there, they didn't want me to live with them anymore, because I was obviously a bad person at the time and they couldn't trust me. And even though they were kicking me out, they felt really bad about doing it. So pretty much what I'm saying is, when you're amidst an addiction, it will make you do things that you thought that you never would do. It starts to become okay in your head. Like, you just start rationalizing with yourself and making it okay so you didn't have a guilty conscience or anything. You didn't care what you had to do to get your money or get where you needed to go. It consisted a lot of using people and only hanging out with people because you knew that they would get you high for free. Using your looks and your body to get you money for drugs, which was by far one of my lowest points in my life. Definitely one of the lowest points in my life. At that time, my mom wasn't really talking to me. My family didn't want much to do with me. I was forced at that time, pretty much forced, because I had nowhere to go after my boyfriend's parents got sick of all the stuff that I was doing. I was doing a lot of horrible things to their son, and to a lot of other people too, but mostly to myself. I had no respect for myself at all. I let people do whatever they wanted to me. and I didn't really care. Like I said in my previous video, I didn't care if I lived or died at that time. And I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care about my boyfriend. I pretty much, it's sad to say, but I used him a lot. I used everyone around me as pawns to get what I needed. But anyway, since I had nowhere to go, I was forced to get clean because my mom would not let me come home, even though I got kicked out of my boyfriend's house, she wouldn't let me come home unless I got help. So at that time, I was kind of forced to go to rehab, and that actually ended up saving me. I did not want to go to rehab at all. I would have continued my wrath at that time, but I ended up going into first 4 Winds for mental health, and that would be like my second time going there. I had went before when I was younger, and I would take a bunch of pills at once, like 30 pills at once to get high. I was like 16 at that time, and then I ended up going into rehab when I was 17, and I got kicked out of my boyfriend's house. But that was my second visit at 4 Winds. And then from 4 Winds, I ended up going to rehab after that, and that actually saved me for a while. I ended up being clean for 2 years after I stayed in Hope House for 4 months, which I told you guys what it was like in there in my video about what it's like what a day in rehab is like. I talked about Hope House in that video. But I met a lot of people who have similar stories to how drugs made them do crazy things. One of my friends that I met in detox actually requested that I do this video because, you know, drugs made her do a lot of things that she never thought she would do too. And you hear that a lot with people. They've done a lot of the same things that I did. And I think that's why a lot of addicts, you know, get judged. But like I said, addiction is a very layered problem, and it goes deeper. It goes deeper than what you see on the surface. But I just wanted to put this at the end of the video. The reason me and my boyfriend got clean, well, a major part of that was help from the Rensselaer County Recovery Helpline. It's obviously based in Rensselaer County where we live. A woman named Linda Martino actually helped me and my boyfriend. She helped me get into detox, and she set me up with my methadone program. She was amazing. That whole helpline, the Rensselaer County Recovery Helpline place, they were absolutely amazing. They answer on every call. They get you in to where you need to go as soon as possible. They were amazing. So the phone number to that is 1-833-467-3123. It's 1-833-467-3123. And they're open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, so every day. If you're struggling, I would highly suggest calling them. They will get you into where you need to go ASAP, whether that's to detox, to a long-term rehab, or into a methadone or a Suboxone program. And if you don't have insurance, you can still call. They will still find a way to get you help. They are amazing there. So, and if you guys have any questions, you can message me too, and I can like help refer you to a place that can help you out of your addiction. It could help you start your path to sobriety. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry if I was all over the place. If you guys want to hear any like crazy stories, or like if you want me to go deeper into detail of the things that I was just talking about and actually talk about one specific topic that I brought up, or one specific story that I mentioned briefly in here, and you want me to go make a video specifically on that story, I can do that. But like and share and subscribe to this video. I mean, subscribe to my channel, but like and share this video where you can, to possibly save someone's life. Thank you, guys.